All right, I made a tool that I wanted to kind of explain. The strength of this tool is really to be a middleware to go from your 3D application to your slicer in a path of least resistance, basically. So what you need to understand is that typically when you're 3D printing with your slicer, you have to paint the model manually. You have to come into paint model or paint mode, sorry, and then you just go in here and you paint on the model. It's that simple. There's techniques to paint these and other external means and then bring them in. It's basically just cutting the model up. For example, this model has a bunch of breaks in it. So one of the way we can do it is we can go and we can start painting those breaks. Another way is you just import multiple objects. So you already have a solution of doing that and then bringing it in. But I wanted to have more of a integrated solution so we could project the texture data into the surface data. Again, you can do this in a 3D software package like Zbrush or Blender. But I wanted to see if I could get Claude, the large language model, to just make an all-in-one tool. Now, I'm not 100% happy with the way the tool came out, and that's why I kind of dragged my feet on releasing it. But if anything, its strength is just going from as a middleware, allowing you to go, from ZBrush into your slicer. And I think that's the strength of it. So yeah. So anyway, so yeah, we can have our model, and you can come into here and you can paint it. What you need to know about the way you're painting this is that your focal shift needs to be at 100. If it's not, effectively what you're creating is a gradient, and so you're getting all these hundreds of thousands of colors of green, and you cannot have that. You can only just have a few colors, a color palette of maybe 3 or 5 separate colors, and so that's why you have to have the focal shift maxed out, and so in that case you're just drawing a straight color of green, and it's more controllable, right? And so the strength in the ZBrush is really your ability to isolate pieces of the mesh so you can color them. It just feels more natural, it's easier to work with, and all that kind of stuff. So, and then you can set up your poly groups, and then, you can break the model up into so many pieces, and it's just, ZBrush is the gold standard, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. But it's damn expensive to get a hold of. So most people will probably be operating within Blender, to be honest. Oh, all these different control schemes can be kind of messed up. So anyway, so I'm just gonna show. Oh, same thing. Like if you're painting, you're gonna have to select constant. Okay, so you're doing a straight color of blue and not a gradient. Okay, so we'll just do a gradient here, and you can see where it's created purple between the red and the blue. It's created purple, and that's gonna create some issues. I'm gonna export both of these. So I'm gonna export from Blender. I'm just gonna overwrite this one. I'll just call it 4. Make sure you enable colors. Export that. ZBrush tends to just already export them, so export that one. Overwrite that one. And then I'll just show the tool here so we can just import the ZBrush one. I don't know what's going on with the scale. I'm just going to say yes. And then that's what we did. I printed that mane of hair there. And then we can just save this to the 3MF format, which is here. And then I'll also open up the Blender one. And this one is the one that we did with the blues. Actually, you know what? I think I have to. Yeah, it's imported more models, I think, than is. I'm just going to clear the scene first because I'm not sure. It'd be kind of weird if there was 2 models in there. Alright, so let's do that. Yes. Okay, so you can see this one had issues importing in because there's too many colors, and so we're losing color information. So it's really important that you export without the gradients. So I'll go back in here, and I don't know if I can just undo all that junk that I did. yeah, we'll just redo, export that again. J, I'll just overwrite that one. Oops. Okay, and there we go. Actually, there's no blue on the eyes. Actually, was this blue? Yeah, I guess there's just too many colors down here in the gut. So we lost some color information. Yeah. So that's why it's important that when you're painting that you do not blend and you're using those constant fall offs or the 100% or negative 100% focal shift. But you can use those softwares. You just need to be aware of when you're bringing it into the slicer, it only supports an active number of 8 colors. Now, I don't know why this limit looks like, well, I guess these are just shades. They're just not that well used, I guess. Yeah, let's just use in little cracks. So I would say ZBrush still, you want to be using ZBrush personally. But anyway, this tool has other features, but the main thing is that you'll be able to export to 3MF, and then that format is what supports the colors. So we can just start a new scene and open up the ZBrush one. That one seems to be more stable. And then there we go. Oops, I really hate this software. And then we can see those different regions. What's nice about this is it knows where the color boundaries are, so at any point you can use the fill bucket to fill in a region, different color. Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. I just think it makes it more streamlined to paint your mesh in ZBrush and then just export it as one thing, and then do the conversion. And just a little bit more about the software. Again, I wanted to have an all-in-one software package without having to need ZBrush, but still, like ZBrush is like unmatched. Like you're not gonna you're not gonna be able to beat that. So we'll just import the original HITIM 3D model, the GLB. It contains the texture inside of it, and it's going to have it over here where we can auto quantize. This is on the texture level, and it's going to try and find the cutoff values for us. And then there's some control settings you can mess with, but I don't really know. I think this Octree is the best one, and the sensitivity, I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know. Anyways, I don't think it really helps. You have more controls, of course, but anyways. So once you're happy with whatever, you can send that to the mesh because of the texture side. Now we're sending it over to the mesh side. Just ensure that this is turned off. That's the texture. You don't want the texture to override the mesh view because then you'll be confused. And then so here you have the surface, and then you can start changing your palette. So we can go, I don't know, red. It's a very weird looking red. And then the skin, we can go whatever color we want. It's kind of a weird color. But anyway, and then you would just be able to activate the brush and then just start painting. Oops. And it's just like normal. You're just painting, right? The only feature that I wanted to add was basically the ability to, I guess, mask. So you would mask an area, and so that you can't touch, and then we can go in and then start to paint this, and then clear to mask, and then that's protected. Um, anyway, that's what the tool does, and of course you can export it to 3MF and then whatever. So it adds a little bit more functionality than the default, where is it, that you get in the slicer. So that's the 3MF tool that I got the large language model to write. But I think its primary strength is just allowing you to go back and forth between uh, ZBrush and Blender, or whatever 3D package I think you're using. Right now we color painted it. We can always export it to an OBJ. Like, I don't know, like, let's do that. So we know that we did a change. We can save the model. We can just save it to an OBJ. We'll just call it new. And we'll go into ZBrush, for example. And ZBrush is pretty forgiving, so we'll just add new measure. We'll import new. Okay, here's our mesh. And as you can see, where we left off is still here. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so yeah, there it is. So I think that's the greatest strength of the tool is just having that middleware conversion. Now the tool has the code for the conversion to go from the OBJ format, and so I don't think it would be that difficult for somebody to integrate that directly into the slicer because that would make more sense to me. For it to just be able to export the OBJ, you use your ZBrush, import it back in, here you go, bam. So hopefully someone does that. I don't really care enough to go looking at their GitHub and telling them what to do because it looks like everyone has their own branch of the slicer. So I'm not going to be involved with that. But anyway, that's what the tool does. And anyway, hopefully that helps. Thanks for watching. Take care and bye.